Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and we are playing Free from the Shadow, which is a samurai. I'm going to already start with mispronunciation, and that will last throughout. Fantasy game. And this is built on Free from the Yoke, which is derived from Legacy Life Among the Ruins. This is a hack of that for a couple of reasons that I'll talk about. It originally started as an attempt to do L5R, but we've kind of expanded it out in terms of what it does. This session is part of the Open Hearth Gaming Community. There'll be a link to that in the show notes if you want to find out about that. We have an online community that does monthly games. There's a bunch of us that do things. And then we've got coming up in early November, we're going to have an open gaming weekend called Shared Hearth, which is a free event. Anybody can come and sign up for sessions and try those out and play. As with everything in the community, it's all run using a variety of layered safety tools and a community code of conduct, and a lot of really interesting things that we've got already on the calendar. I think we've got about 12.5 games there. And I know there are people who are going to be posting more. So what we're going to be doing today is primarily the setup. This is a session 0. I've run quite a bit of Legacy and Shattered City and Free from the Yoke, and I know from experience that we will get through the world creation and the creation of our clans, our families here, but maybe not get to characters. But those are easier once we've got things in place, and we would do those next time. So I am going to walk through the CATs, the concept, approach, tone, and safety material. So I will be talking for a bit here. This is to lay out for everybody so we have some shared expectations about what we're doing, and to set some goalposts for ourselves. This is a complement to the set of safety tools that we have in play. So this is a game of samurai fantasy. Our basic assumptions, our basic setup for this sort of imperial world is that there was a potent foe, a potent supernatural force, which we're at the start just going to call the foe, that was just recently defeated. And as a result of that battle, of that war, lots of things were shaken up, and the emperor died somehow in the course of that. And there is a new emperor who was instrumental in bringing the families back together to survive and fight back against this supernatural force. And we take up sort of in the aftermath of that with our families trying to rebuild themselves, but also rebuild the empire. There's some tension between the emperor and what they ask for and what the clans want, but generally the goal is the same for all the clans to work together to rebuild. Our play is bounded by years and ages. When we begin at the start of the game, the emperor is going to set what's called a project, and that project is something that the emperor wants accomplished. There are some mechanical ways that each of the clans can help out with that. We play then with that. We do the first court, where we kind of roll to see how each clan is in the regard of the emperor. And then there may be some more things that are set before the clans and the characters. After that first court, we move to the clan level, and then we're going to be moving back and forth between the clan level and the character level. Sometimes we'll be going down to the character level just to do some role play. Sometimes we'll be zooming in to do episodes or scenes, in which case one or more of the PCs will be present, and then there might be secondary characters that come in. We do those zoom ins, and then we zoom out. When we kind of think that enough time has passed, we'll say that it's a new year. We hold court again. The emperor kind of sees where everyone is out. And all throughout that, we're working on the projects. The projects have a progress track and a doom track. Whichever one gets filled first, there are 5 ticks on each of those, determines how that resolves. And when that resolves, we do the turning of the age. We resolve what happens in the empire. We tell some stories about that, and then we move forward a little bit in time. Unlike, say, Legacy, we're not moving forward like hundreds of years. We're moving forward like a few years, a decade or so. And at that point, you get to choose whether you want to continue with your character or change them or whatnot. And we kind of do that process over again. What my expectation is, it depends on the speed of play. Usually with something like this, in a 10-session game, we've got session 0 plus 9 more. We'll get through 2 or 3 projects. That's just my general sense of how that goes. One of the other assumptions that I want to say about the concept is that each of you have characters that are from these clans, but you will all know each other. You will all have a pre-established relationship. You will all be friendly with one another, even if it might be a friendly rivalry. But part of what that play is about you stepping outside of the bounds of your own clan to work together with others and figure out what's going on. Your character is not necessarily the leader of your clan, though they might be. It's kind of a split between those two levels. So for our approach, what we're going to be doing is today we'll be doing world and clan building today. As I said, we'll probably get to characters next week. We're going to start by establishing the sort of what the sort of the naming conventions are for the clans. We're going to then define the foe, what they're like, what happened with that. And then we're going to start doing some world picks, some world building. We will, before that gets too much farther, we'll talk about what clans people are interested in. When we get to the clan building process, there are going to be some steps that involve making choices about things to add to our map. But you're also going to be given authority. So each one of these clans gets to say something about the world, gets to define some elements of the world. And it's a very open feel to it. We can really define this as we want. While my touchstone was originally L5R, we've moved away from that. We can do whatever we want in terms of this. It is a fantasy world with samurai trappings. When we get to the end of the clan setup, then we'll establish who the emperor is. There are 3 kinds of emperors that we can have, and we'll talk about which one we want to do. We'll make some choices about that. So that's kind of the approach we're taking today. The tone. So this is high fantasy with samurai trappings. Again, Legends of the Five Rings is a touchstone, but so is Usagi Yojimbo, the Tomo Gozen novels from Jessica Amanda Salmonson, Samurai Warriors, the video game. There are a lot of that. This is, in my mind, in terms of how sort of cultural correct we are. If you've watched an anime where they present a version of medieval Europe or Renaissance Europe, that is the level of verisimilitude that we will be approaching ours with. That's the kind of the tone and the flavor, so we can have whatever we want in there. Within that, we do want to be careful to avoid particular stereotypes that are commonly associated with the genre. Want to avoid accents, of course. There are a few things that are commonly associated in various samurai games and samurai fantasy games. One of them is a very concrete sense of what honor means. In L5R, like honor is a literal concept with weight to it and has magical power and stuff like that. That's not the case. Honor in this version of it is a social construct. It's one of the tools that the people in power and the authorities use to control situations. It is a mechanism to do that. And there's a lot of those kinds of things that are social mechanisms rather than being a magical real thing in this world. We'll kind of play that by ear, but I definitely want to put that out there that's kind of important to me. Now, we were also using a layered set of safety tools. I know I've seen all of you have seen the lines and veils tab. That's our baseline. Again, lines being hard lines on things we don't want to see in the game. Fails being anything that we want to fade to black on if it would appear, or if it appears, we mention it off screen. And ask first being something that if it occurs, we definitely want to check in before we do that. And I will come back to that in a bit, just so that we can kind of review where we're at with all of those things. This is a living document. If you want to add things to this list, please feel free to. If during play you realize that there's something that you wish you had lined or veiled, you can add it to it later on. This is not set in stone. The second level of safety tools that we'll be using is we are using the X card. And we use X card either verbally saying X card or doing the gesture. X card marks out content that we find objectionable, that we find problematic, that we find wildly off tone. It can even be if we find that something in play style is not working, somebody is stepping over on people's toes. X card is both a chance to say, not this content. And if you decide to do that, we don't ask you any question except for how far we want to roll back. You never have to justify or explain your choice for X card. If you wish to, you may, but you are not required to, and you're certainly not required to defend your choice of that. X card is also a good point for us to recalibrate, for us to stop and go, okay, where are we at? One good place is if we're starting to head towards something that we've lined or veiled, and maybe it looks like we're not like cognizant of that. If you X card's a time to go, hey, I think we are leaning towards this. I want an X card, so that we check in and all get on the same page about that. The last thing I'll say about the X card is that if something occurs and the first couple of times you are fine with it, but then later on you're not, that opportunity to X card something has not passed. You can always X card something. I had an example of this that Rich gave me of an NPC name being established, and it was the name of one of the players, and they were okay with it the first couple times, but then they were like, okay, no, this is actually weirding me out. And that's a little thing, but it can be other things that you're at first like, well, I obey the social contract, so I'm willing to get along. But then later on, you don't feel comfortable with it. You should always feel free to mark that. The last note of our layered safety tools is that we do have an open door policy, meaning that if you need to step away for whatever reason, physical, emotional, whatnot, you should feel free to do that. You don't have to tell us. It's great if you could tell us that you're going to be back or not back, but that you're not under that obligation. Just that your own health or what you're doing in the real world, or hey, Amazon's at the door or whatnot, is more important. The other thing about that is if we get done with this session or at any session down the road, and you say to yourself, this is not the game I want to be playing, you should not worry about saying, thank you, but I'm not coming back. That is, it should never play in a game that you're not enjoying. I am too old, and this life is too short for us to spend time playing games we're not enjoying, because I have done that too many times. So feel free with that. The other thing I want to mention is we're going to be moving between different characters, different levels and things like that in our own stuff. Again, I want to make sure everybody is cognizant of player pronouns and character pronouns, and we're careful to make sure that we are using those correctly throughout. I think that's very important. So now I'm going to take another slug of this tea. Are there any questions before we get moving forward? Okay. All right. So we are going to start. I'm actually going to move us kind of to the Samurai Fantasy FFTY document that is there in the Character Keeper. And we're going to talk about setting things up here. And one of the first things that we're going to do here, and I'm on page 11 of the world creation after the index, is in classic L5R and other things, there are various names for the clans. You're going to have a name for your clan that's going to be kind of a descriptor name, like Crab Clan or Crane Clan or whatever. And then within that clan, you're going to have 3 family names, and those are going to be like last names like Daidoji and Kakita and so on. But we're going to start with like what we'd like to do for our naming category. I've given some examples there. We can base it on creatures, things and abstractions, metals and crystals, woods, flowers. I've given a bunch of different examples. In the last game I played of this, they did a combination of things. So at risk of putting someone on the spot, I will put Sherry on the spot here. Any thoughts about ones that you would be interested in or not interested in?
Oh man, they're all pretty awesome. I think, ooh, if we're going to do things in abstractions, I would like it in combination with one of the others, which I think would be interesting.
Okay.
But I'm cool if someone just wants to do something straight out of one of the other categories.
Okay. Mike, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. These lists are very awesome, and I would like to do a combination of things.
Okay.
I am particularly attracted to the top 3, but also looking through the bottom 2 lists, I'm seeing things where I'm going, yeah, that would be cool. I can do something with that. So,
Elle, any strong thoughts?
I was immediately drawn to the flowers myself, but I am totally down for a mix, and I'm easy on this front. I don't have strong opinions.
Why don't we do some combination? Let's say flowers is our base, like, and then a descriptor drawn from something else as that, like a 2-part. Does that sound like an okay call for folks? Okay. So keep that in mind. You will have a chance to decide on that. Now, before we go too much further, I want to talk about the 7 clans that we have in play as our options here, and see if people are leaning towards things, because I think that's always good to have that kind of in frame before we get too much to world building. There are 7 clans. There are, I'm going to go through them. I expect you may have looked at these, but I want to go through and give you how I see them. The Borderlander clans are, this is the clan that lives at the margin of Imperial society. They're the ones that tell us the most about what's going on outside the borders. Who are the nations outside there? What are our relations with them? They are a little bit away from the heart of the Imperial society and can sometimes be seen as less cultured. That's another aspect of them. The Defenders are the clan that has been dedicated to fighting against the shadow, fighting against supernatural forces. They get to tell us some more things after we've set some things about the foe. They get to tell us some more things about that. They get to give us some deeper secrets in particular ways to fight against the foe. The Elegant, this is the family that is dedicated to courtly matters, to arts and artistry. They may be a warrior clan just like the others, but they also definitely lean into arts or diplomacy. They get to tell us like what art is important in this world and which art is out of favor. The Esoteric are the clan that is most connected to spiritual matters. Classically, they are monks, philosophers, that kind of thing. They get to tell us what kinds of philosophies or movements or sects exist within the empire and what their connection is to that. The Inhuman clan is essentially, as it says, it is a clan of non-humans in a primarily human empire. They get to say how predominant non-humans are. They get to say what the role of those non-humans are in this. They get to like say, is it just a world of Tengu, or are there a variety of different non-human peoples? The martial clan is our warrior clan, dedicated to telling us about how wars are fought, how battles are carried out, what kinds of skirmishes are going on at what level. And then lastly, the mystical clan. This is our clan that is going to get to define what magic looks like, what magic, sorcery, how it is presented, both how it operates, and then also how people see that. So I'm going to come back Catan style the other way. L, do any of those like are definitely on the table for you? If you have one you really want to do, or a handful of them that you're thinking about, what would you say?
I think I can narrow it down to 3 that
Ooh.
I'm initially interested in. Either the Defenders, the Elegant, or the Mystical.
Okay. Mike, what about for you?
The ones that jumped out to me were the Borderlanders, the Defender, and the Marshal, probably.
Sherry, what about for you?
Goodness, I don't know. They're all delicious. Do the inhuman, but it makes romance things a little harder. So, esoteric or Borderlanders or mystical.
Okay.
So I don't think any of us block anyone out on it.
Anyone out too much? So a great set of choices. So Elle, if I were to come back to you, you having heard what others are interested in, if I asked you to narrow it down further to 1 or 2.
Oh gosh, I'm the player that hopes that everyone else will choose first so that I can just take whatever's left. I don't have to actually make a choice.
How about eliminating 1 from your set of 3?
Sure. I will eliminate the Defenders.
Okay. Mike, I come to you.
In that case, I will take the Defender.
Okay. Sherry, esoteric, Borderlander, mystical. You are muted.
I'll take the mystical.
Mystical. Okay. You will define magic for us. So we have the Defender, we have the mystical, and L. Are you good with the elegant?
That sounds great. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. So those are the ones we're going to go with. So we return back to our page, and we're going to talk about creating our foe. So as we said, the land has just emerged from a battle against a great force of destruction, and this war was chaotic. It had betrayal, deception, and more importantly, we know that the emperor died. The old emperor died at some point during this. That almost toppled everything, but somehow people rallied, and we had a new emperor that rose up. They brought people together. So this is kind of deciding as a group. We're going to decide like what is the dark foe. Got a list of examples there. And so I'm going to go around and check if there are things that are interesting for people. Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot here first. Thoughts on ones you like, or you have another idea? Which ones immediately appeal?
There's a few in this list that jump out to me. I really like the corruption of Kami or other potent supernatural being. I kind of love the idea of perhaps we did something that upset the balance in the world.
Okay.
And along with that, the one just above that, there's something which possessed and corrupted the Emperor, is similar kind of idea, I guess. Perhaps.
Okay. Sherry, what are your thoughts? You are muted again.
Listen, it's that or helicopters, so
Okay.
you got to choose. Let's see here. Ooh. I don't know. I really like the kind of where we're talking about like the signs of it, or
No, we're on the what the dark foe actually is.
yeah, sorry, what it actually is, which is on which page? Because I
Page
went
12.
to creating. Okay, I was on the right page.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So I really like that thing of the corrupted Akami.
Okay.
I also like the idea of a conspiracy of men tainted by force of darkness. It's that sort of a conspiracy is always good times.
Okay. Elle, thoughts?
I'm also into the conspiracy. I think the fallen lord whose dying rage called something horrible into themselves is also very interesting to me. Yeah, I think those are the two that called to me.
Let's combine a couple of things here, not necessarily overcomplicate it, but I'm going to.
Nope.
We can say that a kami, one of the supernatural figures, was corrupted by this dying lord. That his rage somehow in a temple or elsewhere reached out and corrupted, this benevolent supernatural figure and kind of shattered them, and fell into and possesses Lord. But that this had been engineered, that there were people who had been looking to cause this downfall and had engineered things, and likely got drawn then into the circle of our foe, our corrupted kami from a fallen lord. Does that sound like a reasonable, complicated version? Okay. So I'm going to like highlight those three things so I remember about that. There. Okay. So the next thing we're going to ask is, we know we've got this supernatural foe and it has an incarnation. It has this lord who was possessed by this figure. And then there are these this conspiratorial figures that were then drawn in to this, wrapped in. So there's a horrible lord and, some Nazgul kind of figures there in the background. So we know that our dark foe infected and tainted people, creatures, and even the land. So each of you is going to decide on a well-known sign of corruption. So Sherry, what is one of the signs of corruption?
I'm sorry, but if you aren't choosing inhuman beauty, you're just not choosing.
Okay.
So,
So one of the signs could be inhuman beauty, that people would fall into the sway and this dangerous beauty would come over some of them. And again, someone might not show any of these, someone might show just one of them. We'll have a number of things. Elle, what's another sign of corruption that appeals to you?
It's really hard for me to see Inhuman Beauty and not want to combine it with a taste for blood, but I'm gonna maybe curb that influence, that impulse. And there are fangs on here too, though. I feel like I'm being I'm being pushed in that direction. No, let's go sleepwalking. I think that's quite interesting.
Okay. Sleepwalking, people drawn out from their slumbers, odd hours of whispers of the corruption out there. Mike, what's another one?
I'm interested to see whether or not the inhuman beauty leads to a situation where vanity is kind of considered the ultimate sin. Like, it's important to make yourself presentable, but not too presentable, because that could be a sign of something bad happening. For me, the one that jumps out on this list is strange obsessions, because it's so difficult to detect and it's so insidious. And once you realize that somebody has developed this sign, it may have been going on for a while. I think that's a cool one.
Absolutely. So those are three that are kind of well known. There may be others. We may see that. Our Defender clan is going to get to say some other things about that. But these are sort of the popular and well-known ones. So that particular corruption that revolves around that inhuman beauty, that sleepwalking, those strange obsessions, what do we want to call that? What any of those for anybody appeal, or do you have another thought? I've got some of those example names there. And this may be just one of many. Sherry, you've unmuted yourself, so that makes me suspicious.
I mean, I like blood fever. It kind of catches a lot of those things in it. The idea of the obsession, of the sleepwalking.
Mike, Al, what do you think of that?
That
I
works
like
for
it.
me. Yeah.
The sleepwalking makes me want to connect it to something night, like the call of the stars or the call of the moon or something like that. Or
That's cool too.
Or even combining those two, something like dream fever
Mm.
could be interesting.
Yeah, let's go with Dream Fever because it suggests some things about the path that our foe took, the physical, real world corruption, but also invasion of people's dreams and the realm of dreams and all of that they're and perhaps that's our kami that fell was associated with dreams and has become was changed into something else. Okay, so the next step involves us actually pulling up the Jamboard. And I'm going to pull that up. That's labeled as Empire Map in the thing. So this is a sort of blank map with some bits on there. That is in the Jamboard set as the background, so you don't have to worry about moving that around. So what we're going to do is add things to the map, and we're going to label them. Now, you can just draw a circle or mark that out if you want. But if you wish, you can add image. And in the folder on this Google Drive that you're actually in, you will see that there is a folder called Map Assets. And they have buildings, mountains, and woods. And you can grab those and put those on and then shrink them down to the size you want. These are taken from a couple of different sources. So you should feel free to do whatever you're most comfortable with. So we're each going to pick a place that still remains tainted by the foe's touch. Sherry, got a list of those. What is one place in the empire that still remains? The foe has been defeated, but it's still corrupted. The dream fever is there. The place is haunted. What do you think that is?
I think, um, I think it's the temple that's at like the head of a river.
Okay.
Essentially,
yeah.
yeah. So, and it's where it originated, supposedly, where the kami was that
Oh,
was
okay.
corrupted.
Yeah.
So
So this is the temple of the first fall, the corruption temple. Okay.
exactly.
So grab a thing or draw a symbol and put that somewhere on the map.
All right, I'm going to be awkward and slow at this. I can tell
We
you.
are all going to be awkward and slow at this.
Okay, so I can do like a right click or. Sorry, I got to find the right button.
Okay. So the
Okay, add image. I see it.
you see it now?
Yes. Now I just got to get it to go to the right place. Windows. Hold on a second. Google Drive shared with me. I feel bad that you're waiting for me to do
No,
this.
no,
thing.
I'm not
So-
going to wait for everybody. I just want to have
Okay.
this. We'll do the first one so we get
Yes.
it set so we see how it works.
All right, I have chosen one. Insert. Oh, it's huge.
Yes, and you will shrink that.
All right.
There you go. And then you'll
let's put that at the head of a river. And I like the idea that it's actually like from right here.
okay.
There we go.
And you'll want to give that a name.
Yes. Well, what was that lovely one that you had? The fallen
Temple of the First Fall.
Oh yeah, Temple of the First Fall. There, then I don't have to think about it.
Okay.
So okay, I will
right.
put the label in.
Sure. And then L, what is another place that remains in the empire that is tainted by the foe?
I like the idea of I'm so sorry, I'm so indecisive.
Oh no, please.
It's between a lake and a garden for me. Let's do lake because water gives me dreamy nighttime vibes.
I don't know if I have a lake symbol. So you can kind of draw out a shape as you will.
Okay. I will figure out how to do that.
Sure. And then Mike, what would you like to have as one more place that is still on the map, still tainted?
I'm tempted by two. One would be the raised city. So the idea that the emperor was corrupted in some way and then turned on their own people, and that might have been why we had to band together to take them out. The other one that I really like the idea of is the memorial location, and that might be the location where the emperor fell. It might have been the place where they died, and it still has some kind of shadow of their corruption.
Oh, I like that. Which one is more?
I think that one speaks to me more. I kind of like the idea of a haunted city somewhere, but we might get the opportunity to add that in later anyway.
Oh yes, you will get that chance.
We'll get more. So yeah, I'm going to drop a memorial location, and now I just need to find a suitable image for that.
Okay. So I'll let you label that up. The next thing we're going to do is each of you will have a general place where your clan is. Eventually, we'll add some minor factions as well to be on the map. But we're going to start with you, Sherry, with the mystical clan.
Mhm.
Where do you want your clan to be at? If we kind of imagine it as northwest, northeast, north central, and kind of into the 6 blocks, where do you think you want your clan at?
I think that the place has to be like a convergence of significant like power in some ways. So I'm thinking that it has to be near the mountains and maybe that huge forest over there.
Okay.
So sort of like that ridge right there, and then probably there's water that runs through there and some other things. Not that it's an element thing, that it just has to have those qualities of all of the things of the land.
So they're in that kind of northeastern area.
Mhm.
That's okay.
Exactly.
So here's what I want you to do then is
Okay.
I want you to find a little representation of what we're going to call your central holding, your
Okay.
capital or so on. And you're going to put a sign or symbol for that.
All right.
And you're going to pick 3 elements from that holding elements that kind of describe that.
That is so unkind of you.
I am very unkind, but I'm going to come back to you.
Okay, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Elle, where would you like your elegant family to be at?
Let's see. Are these little islands fair game?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I might put us on a little island. That could be
Okay.
fun. I'll do the sort of largest one in the southeastern
Okay.
corner.
Perfect. And find a little symbol for what you want for that kind of holding. And put that on there and pick out some traits for it.
I'm so sorry. Where do I find the assets again, or how do I access those?
Oh, go to add image.
Mhm.
And then you should see a Google Drive, the shared with me.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And then Mike, where would you like to put your house, your clan?
I apologize because I was coming up with a name for my for my site. Where
Sure.
was Sherry starting?
So Sherry's starting there, kind of where the mountains and forests are in the northeast.
Okay. In that case, I will start on the southern shore next to where the actually probably in between the 2 inlets that we've got there.
Okay. Excellent. So grab something as the symbol there.
Oh, hang on. You said northeast. In that case, I will start by this forest and the wall on the westernmost
Okay.
location.
Spread yourself out over there. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, Sherry, here's where I come back to you and I ask the most difficult question. What are you calling your clan?
Mm. It's not easy. Okay, I can do this.
Okay. So something, and what are the flowers?
Yes. It was on 11, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Well, it has to be a magically powerful creature, doesn't it? So it's either fox or crow, I think. How about crow azalea?
Okay. I like that. So you are the Crow Azalea clan, and you can kind of put that by your holding there on the map, just so we kind of know where you're at. And then I'm going to ask you for those 2 to 3 descriptors that you have for your holding.
Just
There's
let
a
me
list.
name it.
There's a
I have,
list.
like, I
There's
have
a
to
list.
heal. I have to heal. Okay, hold on. So that's in the playbook stuff, though, right?
That is on page 14.
Oh man. Okay. So, wait a minute. On page 14 are the holding elements. Is that what you
Yep,
mean?
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. So, I think that there are many bridges.
Any bridges?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 or 3 more, or 1 or 2 more.
I think that there's surrounding farmlands.
Okay.
That's very much where a lot of their power comes from, is sort of that fertility of the land and those sorts of things. And I think, ooh, I think it's a place where there's this huge waterfall that comes down out of the mountains, like right there, and they're built like near that sort of sheer cliff is like where the head of the city is.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is built there. It's just gardens and parks to contemplate and study and be, but the city kind of opens out from there and grows away from there, but is around there, and then that's why there's water. So does that
Awesome.
sound good?
Yeah. So put Crow Azalea, that text on the map.
Okay, and then
So
I'll put waterfall, mini bridges, and
okay. Yeah, you don't need to write I've got those
Okay.
written down. So
Okay.
we're set on that. Elle, what are you going to call your clan?
I've been frantically like combining options in my head. I knew you were gonna ask me next somehow. Right now I'm thinking, um, hmm. Dawn. I kind of like Dawn Chrysanthemum.
Oh, okay.
We'll pencil that in.
Okay. And what are the features, the holding elements that pick 2 or 3 that kind of describe that capital city of your clan, or fortress or castle?
Yeah, I have a much better picture of
Sure.
this. Yeah, I think the features are, I mean, island, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm thinking meticulous planning and brightly lit. What I'm sort of picturing is like Kyoto's Gion district,
Mm-hmm.
like the famous like geisha district, meets a sort of medieval fantasy Las Vegas,
Okay.
but tasteful,
That's
tasteful, of
great.
course.
That's awesome. And then Mike, what are you calling your clan?
Um, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Ghost Iris.
Ooh, I like that. And for your holding, what are 2 or 3 elements that describe it?
I went for ancient walls, a foreign embassy, because we're right on the border with something there, and a forbidden library.
Ooh. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add 1 or 2 physical features. We'll go around, and by this I mean rivers, more forests, bridges, roads, hills, mountains, swamps, deserts, all of that stuff. So Sherry, give us a another physical feature that's on the map. I know you already mentioned a river, a couple of them. You are muted.
I love a river. So I think that we do need that river that comes from the temple of the first fall.
Okay.
Okay. So and gosh, what should it be called? I think that while it comes from there, I think that different parts of it have different names because
Okay.
the people who live along it refuse to acknowledge a lot of what has happened upstream. Didn't make it down there kind of thing.
Right.
So I think it is kind of the river of many names is just kind of how people do that. It's kind
Sure.
of a euphemism in some ways.
Draw us out that river.
You are so cool.
I know. What a horrible human being.
The worst human being.
Thank
All
you.
right. How do I pick the color? I will figure this out.
I think there's a pen for that. Yeah.
Yes, there is. Okay, so I've got this, and then I need like. There we go.
If you click on the pen tool, you can, yeah, there you go. You got it.
I got it. I got it.
All right, I'm going to let you draw out that river, and I am going to come back to you and ask you about a second feature here in just a moment. Elle, what physical feature would you like to add to the map?
And these are from the map elements on page 15, right?
Yeah, you can. This is basically.
Oh no,
No,
this
actually,
is
this is actually just physical features like swamps or jungles or anything like that, like real physical basics to kind of give us a sense of the shape of the land.
got it. I think it would be fun to have a forest somewhere. I don't know where though. Let's see. Maybe remind me what the Saigo no Shinkan is down here in the middle.
So that is a corrupted memorial. That's where the emperor fell. And that place still kind of bears the taint of the foe.
Yes, there's got to be a forest around that.
Okay. And there's some 4 symbols in the folder. If you want to grab one of those, if one of those fits.
Okay, awesome.
Mike, I'm going to have you add a physical feature.
I don't have a good idea for what to add. We've got a forest, we've got a river, we've got a lake.
Mm-hmm. Swamps, marshes, deserts, burnt out forest.
Yeah, I think I want to put some hills or some mountains or something in between where we've got the river and the lake here,
Okay,
just to kind of separate those two bodies of water.
I like that.
That means I have to draw them though.
There are some hills in the simple things. All right, Sherry, do you want to add another physical feature, or are you good? What will be?
I would happily add. Let's see here. Do you have a set of? I'm gonna go look in your assets here.
Sure.
And gonna go for some hilly lands
Okay.
and think and just put those up there.
Interesting. I like
I
that.
think they work. They're called the barrier hills, but they're a barrier too.
Okay.
I'm not decided yet. So
Sure.
there you go.
L,
Maybe it's the burial hills.
L, do you have another physical element you want to put on map, or are you good with where you're at?
I think I'm probably good. I can't think of
Okay.
something else that I
Sure.
want.
And Mike?
I don't have anything else to add at the moment.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break here. For the first break, we usually take 10. We'll take 5 for the second break. We try to aim for the hour. We'll see where we're at. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the world creation questions for your clan. And you're going to be adding light and dark elements to the map as well. So take 10. So it's about my time 9:18, 9:08. So at 9:18 or so, we'll see you back here. So before we go too much further, we're going to go on until be adding some more things to the map. I just want to go over quickly what we have right now as lines and veils, just so we have those in mind going forward. So we have hard lines on sexual assault and torture by the PCs. We have veils on eye injuries, homophobia, racism, sexual content, slavery, torture by the PCs, and transphobia. And we have an ask first on any kind of mind control as a plot. We always want to check in with that. And we also have the romance matrix indicating interest in for pursuing romantic plots, subplots with other characters. I have added to the map 4 randomly generated minor factions. I have a little table for doing this. So down there, just below Ghost Iris, we have the Imperial Scholars. I'll generate some traits for them, but I just want to kind of put them out there as positional things. We have Iron Rose clan. That is a major clan on the scale with you, but down there towards the middle. We have Eternal Sakura clan just above the Scar Mountains there. That is a major clan. They're the sort of our calculating schemer clan. And then we also have Onyx Plum, which is just to the north of Crozalia. Onyx Plum is a minor clan with a focus on building. That is their specialty. And actually, Iron Rose Clan is a minor clan. It's a group of Ronin that have been granted status as a minor clan. So those are just on there to add to give some other NPC players to interact with and so on. So what we're going to do now is I'm going back up to the top. We're going to be talking about now take a look at your world creation questions, consider your choices, and share those with the table, things you're thinking about for that. And then we're going to go around and add a couple of elements. So Sherry, you chose the Mystic Clan.
I did.
And if we look there in the book, those pages, and that is for you on Mystic Clan questions are on page 47.
Okay, I'm scrolling there.
I'm
We'll
sorry.
be there any moment now.
I actually use little like outline side tab for the Google Sheet that helps with the headers.
Oh gosh, there it is. Holy smacks.
I'm sorry, I should have said that before.
No, that's just me not learning my tools. That's, it's gonna happen.
You don't use Google Sheets for work, though, so.
I do not. Okay.
So your family gets to define magic, gets to tell us what it is. So you're going to define magic, and you can make a few choices off of that, or a single choice or a couple of choices on that, and then you're going to tell us some things about the magical world. So what are you thinking about in terms of what its sources are, what it looks like? What are you imagining? You've mentioned nature before as a feature.
I do think that, essentially, actually the kami, this is what's so dangerous about it. The kami still are the center of magic for this. That essentially it is their favors, their rules, their gifts that grant most magic.
So it comes from them. They're an animate force, a conscious force. You have to talk with and bargain with them. Are the kami like, do they come at all different kinds of levels, or are they sort of all one level?
That's why, why Crow Azalea is the one that knows the most, is because they sort of have that extensive knowledge of the bureaucracy of the kami, so to speak. But also of where they live, and what they wish, what they, and they have a bazillion bargains with them. So they are just, that is a big part of it.
So let me ask you that, looking back at that list of questions, does everybody practice the same style of communication with the kami? Is there different things or any other details that you want to add in there?
I think that inherently there's the idea that of the kami, the different families of them that need to be handled in different ways. And so any given magic user is usually a specialist in communing with certain kinds of kami.
Okay. All right. So below that, there are some statements about the magical world there. And I'd like you to pick 1 to 3 of those that are true. We may end up that others may be true, but at the start, these are the ones you're kind of setting for us to kind of describe things. So we know we've got Shugen.
Yeah. I think oh gosh, there's so many big ideas here. Okay. would say that the general populace fears magic, except their own local magic is kind of it, if that makes any sense. Like their local magic is fine because it's fine. They know that. But the other kami, they could be bad. So that would be a fairly
Okay, I like that. They know the spirits that are in their area. When people invoke or talk or bring symbols, the other ones they get nervous. They get worried about that. Okay.
I would say that some of the magic schools are hidden. And this is because there's some order of kami that they have agreements to protect and to keep safe from, and because let's face it, the kami are as afraid of what happened in the fall as people are. So
this sort of secret hiding of these schools is a relatively recent thing then, maybe?
I think so.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Are you good with those two, or do you want one more?
Well, I mean, let's make it complicated, right? Because we can't do it. I think oh boy. I think that Shugenja today are starting to develop new practices and traditions because of what happened. There's a lot of assurance practices and traditions that are going on, and purity and those kinds of things that didn't used to have to exist before.
Okay. I like that. All right, so that gives us that. We're going to come back to you in a bit, and you are at that point going to make a pick from that list in world creation, either from the light side or the dark side of those lists, and add that to the map under map elements, light and dark. So we'll come back to that. But let's now talk to the defenders.
Hello.
So for our defender family, for Ghost Iris, you get to choose a precious substance which is always a useful bane against the foe. And this is sort of borrowing from L5R, where jade was the classic substance that could be used. But it could be a kind of wood, it could be plants, it could be herbs, it could be something else. What would you like as that sort of well-known universal substance that helped against the foe?
I'm going to go with obsidian.
Okay. So nice, good, hard material can be sharpened, very specific places it can be gathered from. I like that. What are other methods that are effective against the foe?
Can I throw kintsugi into there? The art of reforging something to highlight the imperfections?
Yeah.
I think that balances well against the unnatural, inhuman beauty that our foe has.
Oh, that's great. And what else?
Out of this list, I think masking jumps out to me. And again, that kind of balances out against that inhuman beauty kind of concept of you would hide your face, but that also means it's unclear whether or not you might be hiding
Do you think
unnatural perfection.
So does that, as a bane, do you mean Does it mean that somebody who wears a mask is particularly potent against them, or does it mean when you put a mask on someone who is tainted? What do you think that is, or is it both? Or the simple
I
presence of masks?
think you wearing a mask is potent to
Okay.
hide your own features against the foe, prevent them from seeing you.
Excellent. And one more.
Well, given the connection that we had to night things, I think I'll go with sunlight for the last
Okay.
one. They are more potent when it's dark, or less potent when it's very bright.
Okay. So then we're going to go back up to the signs of corruption and the tools of the foe. You're going to pick one from each that hasn't been already chosen, and it's something that your clan knows. You know some secrets about this. Oh, we didn't do the tools of the foe. I skipped over that, didn't I? So actually, let me put a pin in this. I went from corruption to places that remain tainted. So one of the questions are what tools which remain remnants of the foe pollute still have. So let me have you, Mike, pick the first one of those. We'll go around and we'll each do that one, and then you'll pick another one of those. Okay. So Sherry, I'm going to point you back up to page 13, L, up there. So Mike, what would be one of the things that, like the remnants of the foe, that remains, this conspiracy of this commie been defeated, but what kinds of things are still around from it?
Heightening emotions.
Heightening emotions. So that's one of the things that occurs, one of the tools. It's one of the things that happens to people. Sherry, what's another one?
Shape changers.
Shape changers. So some of the truly change, the villainous force of foe still around, assuming other guises. L, what's another one?
Let's see. So we've chosen shape changers and what else? Sorry.
Heightening emotions and shape changers.
Let's go with undead. That's a kind of sleepwalking.
Okay. So there are these undead, and I think because this is always one of my favorite go-tos, diabolical items. That there are things, tools that were used by the foe that still remain and bear some of the taint. So then, Mike, I come back to you. What is another tool that your clan knows of that others might not of, that still remains out there?
Because we have flowers in our clan names, I'm going to go with transformed flora and fauna.
Hey, you know that there are places where the flora and fauna, the vegetation, the animals have been tainted. Other people may not realize that and how dangerous it is. And then we go back to signs of the corruption. People know about the inhuman beauty, sleepwalking, the strange obsessions. What's another sign of the corruption that your clan knows of that others do not? Mike?
Sorry, I'm looking at
Oh, sorry.
another tool. Is that what I'm looking at? So
No, for up on page, I can come skipping around.
one
I
above.
apologize. On 12, for the signs of the corruption, we've already said inhuman beauty, sleepwalking, strange obsessions. What's a fourth one that your clan knows of, and maybe other people don't?
A mark on the body.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to know now. We'll find out more about that in play.
Mhm.
That brings us to our elegant clan. Your family defines the arts which are currently the most respected, and of course, which you have the leading lights in. So what are the three that are in favor, and what are the two that are out of favor? Maybe why those are out of favor?
Yeah, I think flower arranging is certainly in favor. Um, I think in a very sort of direct way, the flowers are an enduring symbol of the like political strength of the clans united against the foe, since we all have these flower names. Um, I think poetry is also in favor.
Okay.
I sort of like the idea that even though we don't consider it magic, we are very aware of this way that creativity creates this kind of pure connection with like whatever shattered remnants of the kami of dreams remain. So we love these sort of surrealist, dreamlike imagery that poetry invites. And I think singing slash musical performance, just like music more generally, I guess, is also in favor. Um, I imagine
Nice.
there are lots of composers working on lullabies and things
Yeah.
like that. um, and as for what's out of favor, Sherry, you mentioned that like magic is feared by most, right? Then I think magical displays are certainly they're out. Like maybe they were quite popular before the cataclysm that happened, but we don't do that anymore.
Okay.
And I think mask making.
Mm.
I think for a few reasons. I think one, because of the shape changing and the inhuman beauty, covering yourself invites suspicion. I think even though the defenders can use masks as like a bane against the foe, that's a reason for us as artisans to sort of shun mask making, because like
Mhm.
masks are weapons now. They're like instruments of war, and
Nice.
we don't care for that.
Yeah. Dangerous associations. I like that. And then, and this is, you don't have to decide this now, but I want you to come up with the three schools of dueling that had the most influence in the empire, and you can choose whether they're sword dueling or poetry duels or other kinds of weapons or whatnot, and give them names. So that's give you that as a placeholder to think about. Sound good?
Yeah, I'll think about that.
Okay. We're going to go back up before we kind of start to walk through the process for the individual clan questions and things like that. We're going to go back up to the map elements. Sherry, you're going to choose a thing either from this light list of map elements on 15 or the dark list that's on page 16. You can pick one of those and add that to the map.
Oh, there's so many gorgeous ones.
Yeah. And whatever you choose, if you choose a light one now, later on, you're going to choose a dark one.
Okay. So I don't have to feel bad about it.
Exactly.
So I'm going to unbalance the world in some terrible way.
We're not playing microscope.
Okay. So let's see here. Oh, geez. Ooh. And this can be anywhere on the
Anywhere on the map.
Okay, this sounds really silly, but I really like that silkworm shelter where these insects manage to survive, because
Okay.
that's like a super like sad thing that would have been something that was so beaten back and has to be rebuilt back and all that. So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I will make a place for it.
Excellent. Mike, what would you like to add to the map?
The one that jumps out to me is Dark 24, which is statues to honor the sacrifices of heroes in the war.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is kind of lay out the path that maybe the Emperor took and then place them along that path.
Oh, I like
So I
that.
just want to check in with the other players. The path that I'm envisaging goes between the Scar and the River of Many Names, and then to the north of the cut, in between the Scar and the cut. So to just drop some statues along there, does that suit everybody else's thoughts?
I like it.
Sounds good.
I will find a suitable statue image.
And then L, what would you like to add to the map?
I would like to add, there's so many good choices. I think we need some kind of center of trade or something. Perhaps a new harbor created for the use of all.
Oh, I like that.
Do you mind if I put it near the Iron Rose clan stronghold? Do you have something?
Absolutely. No,
Okay,
you
cool.
put that there. Oh, nice. And what are you going to call your silkworm sanctuary?
Oh, um, how about something like the Tengu's Gift?
Okay. Okay.
And essentially it was, no one knows if there's really Tengu there, but that's what it's called. It's just that the barrier hills, nothing went past that in the struggles.
I like it. And we've got the statues there. Is there a thing we're calling the statues?
Yeah, I had a plan to call them Dusk, Midnight, and Dawn, but then I don't know if that conflicts with the concept of Dawn Chrysanthemum. Although maybe if they were instrumental in that final battle, that makes more sense. Al, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm interested in maybe playing to find out why it might be called Dawn. And if it's related.
Nice. Okay. So the next step is this. If you go now to the character keeper, this is where we actually kind of start adding things in to our clan pages and things. So some of the details we'll be adding in, obviously you can put in the playbook. We'll be naming the head family and their two vassal families. And you can put your traits for your clan center in there. On the list of the clan playbook elements, we've pretty much done 2 through 8, kind of got those rows completed. So we're going to be doing the stat picks, customs, some questions about the history of the war. And we're going to come to that when we kind of, after you've done your picks for stats and customs, we're going to come to that history of the war, because that's some things you're going to answer and some questions we're going to do for kind of doing the relationship thing. So let me, actually, I'm sorry. Sorry. I forgot how I rearranged this. Playtest, customs, history of the war, and threats. Those are the ones you're going to make the picks on now. Then you're going to share those, and then we'll do the influence questions, which are kind of the relationship questions for the clans. So let me let you loose on that while I sit here awkwardly for a bit. And then we'll come back and we'll do some introductions of things. If anyone has any questions about what things mean or anything like that, go ahead and say when they come up.
I just say for the record that the stats for Legacy are perhaps the most obscure ones known to mankind. So there we
Yes.
go.
I recommend checking the clan moves tab to see what those correspond to.
Okay.
Grasp is generally your claim by force, military kind of strength, that kind of thing. Reach is used for the read the wind move, for like finding out information. And then sleight is for subterfuge, sneaking things, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Lol, did you want us to do the history of war and threat stuff now as well? Is there a particular spot for the history of war, or is that something to just drop in the world building and notes section?
That's mostly in the world building and notes section. The threat does have a spot.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's do this. You may be still working on some things here, but let's take a 5-minute break here. We'll come back. We'll see where people are at, do introductions, and kind of move on to the next stage of things here. So let's just take 5 quick break, and we'll come back. And I'm going to start with our mystical clan. Why don't you tell us about the picks that you made? What did you choose for your stat pick? You are muted.
Understand that this is actually like a character trait that I now possess, is I am perpetually muted when I start talking. Okay, so I chose the one where essentially the clan, you know, through that whole thing was firmly led by the head Shujenja. The people. So essentially I end up with a reach of 2.
Okay.
Grasp of 0 and sleight of -1, where we are not subtle in any way, but we aren't like people know what we're going to do, but we do it. So
You have a family name for the main family of your
yes,
clan?
I do. Kimura.
Okay.
It's a name that's about nature and about being a part of the surrounding area. And then the other names are Tanaka and Hayashi for the vassal families.
Okay. And tell us about your daimyo.
Kamura Kenji's hold is strong. He is an exacting daimyo.
And the other CS but we
Other
are
seers is mystics who would rather talk with spirits than humans, which some level it's our job, but yeah, kinda. And then but actually we are a limit on those who would use powers beyond their ken to reshape the land.
Right.
So
I like that. Let's look at that history of the war. Why did your highest masters openly delve into forbidden magics during the war?
I think oh, it's a hard one. Because this really is about like changing and breaking the kami, isn't it? So
Mhm.
I'm gonna guess that they sacrificed themselves in order to bring about the final battle. So boo.
Yeah.
I have +1 favor in need of attunement. Yikes.
Yeah, it's actually need blessings is what it's
Oh,
called now.
okay.
Sorry, I just changed
Blessing.
that.
Okay, need a blessing. Yep.
Yeah, so they sacrificed themselves. They did this, so you'll set your favor with the emperor at +1.
Okay.
But you'll add that blessings to your need.
Okay.
What vague vision or prophecy has your clan had about the future?
I think they have a vague vision, a prophecy of 3 sets of 3 children, of 3 sets of 3 children, and that in the thing is it is about each of the triads brings like some set of things together that allow them to solve one of the 3 great problems, essentially the 3 great crises that are coming.
And why have you kept that secret?
Why have I kept that secret? Because we know that there would be a bunch of people jostling to be those people, to do that, to like set themselves up as that for acclaim or being in the front of things and for power. So that's why the clan doesn't say anything. They watch for it, but they don't know what they're watching for. In many ways, they know that they, come from different origins, each of the triads. I mean, like the 3 within each triad come from different places.
Okay. And what threat is your clan facing right now?
Ooh, strange earthquake sounds awesome.
Okay. So there have been strange earthquakes in your land that have caused problems that you're not sure where they've come from. Okay. Excellent. Let's come. Yes.
Where are we writing those down?
The threat.
Yes.
The threat. There is a space on that on the clan sheet there.
Okay.
Just below the surplus and needs.
Okay, I will go and put those in there. Good.
Okay. Let's come to Dawn Chrysanthemum. And which stat line did you pick?
I chose that we are elegant masters of etiquette, or how is it actually phrased? Elegant masters of etiquette hold the reins of the clan. I think it might be more hospitality than etiquette.
Okay.
Going with the Las Vegas sort of theme.
I like
don't know
that.
how much etiquette's going on, but yeah.
That's awesome. What is the name of your main family?
The main family of the clan is Hanashiro.
Right.
And their vassal families are Kagami and Minobe.
And tell us about your daimyo.
Sure. Our daimyo is Hanashiro no Hatsue, Hatsue being the given name there. Her hold is strong, and she is ambitious and cunning.
Mm. And others see you as, but you're actually
Others see us as soft celebrants who bask in luxury, but we are the only ones who understand the true strength which comes from beauty.
and the history of war question. How did the foe treat your clan?
Let's see. I think we were persecuted and thrown into civil war.
Okay. Cause chaos, cause rifts amongst your family there. So you will start with +1 favor for the emperor. And what vital and ancient thing was lost in this war against the foe?
Yeah, if it's okay for me to declare this connection, I'm sort of thinking this raging lord um was one of ours,
Okay.
and that the area around his final resting place used to be like our stronghold. Like we weren't always on that island in the
Oh,
southeast. That's a fairly recent thing. Um, so those grounds are still those like ancestral grounds of ours are still like kind of haunted by this like raging lord's ruin, maybe like literally haunted.
so like there's a
Yeah.
like a coastal castle that's haunted on the mainland kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think what must be done to restore its lost glory. I think like the grounds have to be, or the ground itself has to be like purified somehow, but that in itself is a dangerous rite, and it would take a lot of power and like probably cooperation between the clans that we're trying to muster.
Mm-hmm. I like that. What is the threat that is currently facing your clan?
I'm thinking political corruption is, I think, one of
Okay.
the reasons why we were thrown into civil war is because, we're all beautiful. And given the nature of the threat, like we had a hard time trusting each other. Um, and in fact, there was reason for that because some of our own did sort of go with the foe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think some still secretly long to bring the foe back into power.
Ooh, interesting. All right. Awesome. Uh, let's come to the defenders then. What stat line did you choose?
I just had all this on screen and then I moved it away because I'm a fool. I went with cleverness has shaped the destiny of the clan, which gives me -1 reach, +1 grasp, and +1 sleight.
Mm. And what is the name of your main family?
The main family of the Otojiro.
Okay.
And then the vassal families are Takuro and Roku.
And tell us about your daimyo.
The daimyo is Masuda Otojiro, uses she, her pronouns. She rules the clan. She's kind but clever, and her hold is currently weak. Her main rival is Tomoroku.
Is that a long stating or is that a new rivalry, you think?
I suspect it's long-standing but recently revealed.
Okay. Excellent. And of course, we have an NPC tab, so you can find pictures for all these people and put them in. So tell us then how others see you and how you actually are.
How others see us are as failed guardians who did not stop the foe in time. But we are those who hold the line against the return of the foe.
And when you fought back against the foe after they seized or devastated your lands, how did you fight?
We fought by drawing our forces together and led the charge on our own.
Okay.
which gives us, let me see if I can find it in here.
You take -1
We start
favor,
at,
but you get a
but we gain
surplus.
surplus morale and order.
Yeah. So which of your families was the first to realize you made a major misjudgment about the foe?
The Roku family, they lost many of their sons and daughters in that initial kind of assault or fight. And Tomoroku in particular lost a child in that fighting,
Nice.
which might be where the open hostilities come from now.
Okay. And what is the threat that is facing your clan?
The threat are cultists who I believe are also trying to investigate or they believe the foe was onto something but maybe didn't do it right.
Oh, okay. So hints of things left over from that old conspiracy. Nice. We're going to go around now and we're going to do the influence questions. So Sherry, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Which of those two do you want to do first? And we'll come back and do the second one in a moment.
Let's see here. Oh boy. Let's see here.
And if you feel that a particular thing doesn't fit with any of the other two clans, you can also choose one of the NPC factions.
Yeah. So say which clan sent their young Shugenja to train with the clan and bolster their numbers? I think maybe, gosh, I don't know. Would you be interested in the defenders, like that they did that at some point to get more information about the kami? So they sent their Shugenja, but also because the kami were super dangerous, so they needed, or the distorted one. So would that make sense to you? That was sort of like a place where they could go to be safe until the foe was brought down.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and I think we probably didn't have a lot of experience with the kami.
That makes sense.
So you will write in Crow Azalea onto your influence list, Ghost Iris, and check one of those influence boxes. And then let's come to our elegant clan. Which of those influence questions would you like to start with?
I'll just go in order. Which clan has ancient ties of marriage and blood with you? Each of you gain an influence on the other. I think it makes sense for that to be Crow Azalea. If that's cool with you, Sherry.
Yeah, it's absolutely cool with me.
Okay. Let's write in that influence. Mark one dot. And then let's come to our defenders.
Which clan's family did you rescue from the foe in an effort to demonstrate your return to the light? I could see this going either way. Given that the foe came from within Dawn Chrysanthemum, I would lean that way.
Elle, does that appeal to you?
Yeah, that sounds really fun to me.
Okay. So you both mark influence on one another. Sherry, we come back to you with the other influence question.
Okay. Let's see here. This is a weird one. So I will toss it out there. So, and oddly, it like assumes that we had a lot of grain, which we did. So what clan had streams of refugees pour into your lands during the war against the foe? If you gladly accepted them, take 2 influence on them and need rice. If you turn them away, they gain influence on you. Do either of you have the sense of lots of refugees that you would send over? If not, I can take an NPC clan. This is sort of, I mean, I know you were in the tangle, so for the defenders and the elegant, I don't know. Did you have refugees, do you think, Elle? Or should I go with the NPC? I'm fine with either.
We probably did, right? I mean, we had like a weird bloody civil war going on. So yeah, I'm sure we did. I'm happy with that unless you want to pick an NPC clan.
I don't know. I love having, well, like, this is another one then, right? Okay. We're going to be so up in each other's influence stuff. Okay. So let's see here. I think,
Did you accept them?
yeah, let's say I accepted them.
Okay.
So we got like all kinds of shortages.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. The best way to start the year.
And you would start with 2 influence. You can have a maximum of 2.
Oh, well, that's no fun. Okay. So I'm maxed out.
Yep.
Okay. That was a non-ideal play in all the different ways. But I'm doing it. So
Min-maxing PBTA. Yeah.
you kind of got to, you don't have much leeway, do
That's
you?
true. That is actually true.
So,
Elle, what do you want for the other one?
I think my other one makes sense to go to the defenders. Let me pull it up again. I lost it. Yeah, okay. Which clan did you relentlessly strike at and purge at the behest of a corrupted leader? I imagine that might have been something that happened quite early in the conflict, which I think gives more meaning to your coming to my army's rescue later.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely like that. And especially because we then turned around and rescued your army, which I'm sure was not popular.
Yeah.
So mark that influence. And then for the defenders, we do the other influence question.
I think
Which way? Sorry, I have?
I'm sorry. So with the elegant, which clans you relentlessly strike at? So the defenders take influence on the elegant.
Okay.
And then which family do you now rely on to be an effective trader?
I think I could go with anyone for this, and it will give them influence on me, if I'm right.
Yep.
Sure. What is so? I can be that person. Yes. We can be that clan. We will trade with you.
Okay.
But I have a question with
Yes.
mine that I chose. Since I said we fed them, is it that L marks influence to the crow or I mark?
It's that you have 2 influence on them.
Oh, this is so bad. Okay. I mean, I got it. So I marked it right. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Before you chose dark element or a light element, you're now going to go and choose the opposite and add that to the map. So did you choose light or dark before, Sherry?
I chose a light one. So now I would choose a dark one.
Okay. That's page 16.
Okay. Elements. Ooh. Oh, well, we just mentioned it, the now cursed place where a great Shugenja sacrificed themselves, or sacrificed themselves. So that sounds like, oh, another cursed place. That's just what we need, isn't it? All right.
You don't have to go with that. You go with something else.
No. Fine, it's all pretty dark.
Okay.
So
Mike, did you pick light or dark for your first one? I think dark, right?
Yeah, I picked dark.
Okay. So we'll have you pick a light element now.
I will choose the now cursed place.
Okay. And where are you going to put that, Sherry?
I'm gonna pick a little icon and then I'm gonna just drag it over the map until I found somewhere else. No, I probably will
falls
put
into
it,
place.
yeah, it falls into place. Actually, I really like the idea that it happened like, gosh, right on the river there.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I probably will place something there.
Mike, what about
Uh,
for the light pick?
I'm going to place number 13, which is a magical forge where the earth itself can melt any metal.
Ooh,
And I'm going to
nice.
put it in the northeast corner there, up in the mountains, behind the Crow's earlier stronghold somewhere.
I like it. And then L, did you do dark or light for your first one?
I did light for my
Okay.
first one.
So now choose from the darkness.
I'm looking. I think this is a secret valley where exiles organized to fight the foe. Not sure where I'm gonna put it yet.
Sure. I like the little forge icon you found.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but I started just searching on the noun project and then picking the URL, and I can just drop them in.
That's smart.
That's where I get the statues from as well.
Okay, so there's now a bridge you shouldn't cross because you
Okay.
might not make it across. You may just disappear while crossing.
Big haunted bridge. Okay.
Yeah, cursed bridge to away.
Forge. Yeah. All right. So we've got some things that are picks now. There are three things really that are left for you to pick. Some of these things are set, like inheritance and alliance move are kind of set things you'll write in. But you're going to pick a feature, which is kind of like a move for your family. You're going to make your choices about what two things are your surpluses, and then the other things are needs. And then the other thing that you're going to pick there is your doctrine, which is another kind of move thing. And then at the bottom, there are some actual moves that you can pick. I want to mention with the doctrines and the features and the moves, because you're kind of choosing these blind in a ways to we haven't seen the focus of play, you will have the opportunity to change those after we played a session or two in case you're like, oh, this doesn't work with the way I'm imagining things. So let me give you all a few minutes to make those picks because we haven't chosen enough things today.
One of the resources is warding in brackets. Should that be replaced with
In Obsidian now.
obsidian?
Yeah.
That's perfect. We need that. For reasons. Good ones. While the shunned labor move on page 26
Mhm.
asks me to make a choice about the work. Is that something that I can redefine
Yes.
at the start of each year? Okay.
Yeah.
Enact a ritual, roll on plus lore. Where do you get the flippin' lore?
So lore is your character is when your character enacts the
Okay.
ritual. Yeah.
Okay. Then there's a whole thing about you can teach it to other clans.
So here's the thing. There are what are called legacy rituals. These are rituals that have a defined effect. Like we know what it does. It's predefined, and it's easier for the clans know them, and so it's easier for them to enact them. It's easier for them to do them. It's less potential downside. But then you can also, if you're a Shigenja character, you can also enact a ritual and say, "This is what the ritual does," and make it up, and it's harder.
Okay.
So, but you'll start with every family will start with one ritual that you're Shigenju know, which and with the library's pick that you made, you'll also get another one.
Oh, and I can take another one and get 2 more. I can take that as a move.
Yeah.
You can have so many rituals.
So many
That'll be my
rituals.
only thing. That'll be
Rituals
what I
are
do.
are potent, but have some downside, as you may remember.
I just remember Patrick, like, almost dying every time.
He did not roll well
Yeah.
in that game ever.
Did he try rolling better?
Yes. Why don't you just get good?
Yeah.
Because the dice are willing to go along with that. So.
So I'll give you a couple more minutes, and then I'll have you go through kind of the picks that you've made very generally, and that'll be our wrap for today.
I do have a question.
Sure.
How many years do we expect to cover in this series?
So typically, I would say in a particular project, will usually takes 2 or 3 years. We'll probably get 2 or 3 holding courts before the project resolves. So I would say, gosh, in between 2 or 3, and then the age, and there's a jumping forward of years. So probably 6 or 7, maybe. That's just a guess right now.
Okay, yeah, a ballpark is very
Yeah.
helpful.
All right. Sherry? Yes. You're still thinking about your surpluses and needs, I take it?
Yes.
Okay.
I am still thinking about them.
Sure.
I mean, I have a lot of them.
I know. So what did you choose for your doctrine and your feature?
A fine question. And I will know the answer in a moment. Oh, so my doctrine, look into the void. When another clan performs a ritual, you will know it has happened and roughly what it has done. Gain advantage when you unearth forgotten lore to discover more details.
Okay.
And then feature the great libraries. Your clan begins with an additional legacy ritual.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Then what are you talking about for thinking for your moves?
I was thinking hallowed. Your plan is granted great reverence through religious duty, magical, blah, blah, blah. oddly, the cut and paste on this one went awry, so I'm gonna have to work that out. So, I hate you, Google. Anyway, but anyway, essentially I can praise the emperor when we go to court and gain advantage on the favor roll, or I can correct the actions, gain a disadvantage on the favor roll, but erase a need. I don't know how that works precisely, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. And the other one?
The other one is Eyes of the Ancestors. So this is your lore masters may gather to seek a truth to the past. This can be done in one of two ways. The first is that your clan rolls plus reach on a 7 to 9, generate 1 hold. On a 10 plus, generate 2 holds. Spend the hold 1 for 1 to ask any of the following questions. Where is blah hidden away? How do we get surplus blah? What happened in blah, a particular region? What happened during a historical event? Other similar large-scale questions, or instead declare an answer. And then on a 10 plus, mark the map with a sign of your answer. Okay.
Nice.
And then alternatively, if my character participates in the invocation, they can see a past event through the eyes of a person there and feel what they feel. They cannot control the precise point in time they visit, but it will always include a fragment of ancient lore, a clue to unanswered crime, or something else that Google Sheets has cut off.
Yeah. And in that case, that's not a rolled thing.
Oh, okay.
That's just
cool.
my character's in a scene. I want to do that, and you will ask for it and get that.
Oh, cool. So I
Okay.
can just keep interrupting and asking. You to do
Yes,
that.
you can just keep interrupting me.
Okay.
Fair enough. Let's come to Dawn Cathanthemum. What did you take for surpluses and needs?
My surpluses are culture and luxury. My needs are koku, rice, and trade.
Okay. And your doctrine and feature?
These are the ones I was really waffling on.
Oh, fair enough. And again, if you decide to change them later, you're more than welcome to.
Cool. So for now, my feature is the Jeweled City. I've made the seat of my clan a thing of beauty. When the game zooms in and my clan's land, I describe the beauty of the place or festival taking place and pick a stat which characters present in the scene gain fleeting advantage with. And my doctrine is beauty for all the world to see. Once per year, I can present another house with a beautiful work of craftsmanship. And when I do, I give them surplus morale or surplus luxury and gain up to 2 influence on them.
Nice. And then for your moves.
My moves, I have the gift of office. So I can use my power to gain an office or position for someone. Which can get me lots of interesting and cool things if I succeed. And if not, they are publicly dishonored,
Okay.
which is very fun. And my second move is the grand event. Once per year, I can hold a tournament, festival, or ritual of surpassing beauty. And I also got lots of cool things, including possibly securing a marriage between two clans. I'm definitely going to do that at some point in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Those are good picks. I love those. And that brings us to Ghost Iris. What did you take for your surpluses and needs?
So I already started with morale and order surpluses from my time in the war. I took engineering and fortifications as my other 2 surpluses. And from a needs perspective, I took obsidian, which is warding against the foe. Trade and recruits, because we lost a bunch of people.
And your doctrine and feature?
Our doctrine is that we're always prepared for war. So your duty of guarding the foe and corruption means you're always ready for war. We don't have to roll logistics for martial surpluses. Which I can't remember what that means, but we will find out in play.
Yeah. So basically, whenever you would try to use a surplus to solve a problem or deliver it to the project, you usually have to roll logistics to get it there. But anything that's kind of related to warfare or war, you can just skip it. It just gets there.
We can just get it there.
Yeah.
Awesome. From a feature, I selected Stand Proud. So when somebody uses influence on me, then I get advantage on a hold together roll to resist it. And when I fall into crisis, I can erase all influence anyone else has on me.
Okay. And your moves?
The moves, I have rationing. So when I lose a surplus for any reason, I get advantage on the next clan move. So I'm setting myself up to profit from failure.
Okay.
Um,
Not a bad plan in this
and-
game sometimes.
Yeah, and I also took shunned labor. So at the start of each year, I can gain a couple of surpluses and do the work that nobody else wants to do, which will also define some kind of need.
Excellent. So that gives us a sense of our clans. We have a pretty good picture of things. We've got a lot of the details out there. Start of next session, we will have people choose who their character is. This doesn't take that long. There aren't that many picks. Most of the picks will come from us actually doing the relationship questions between one another. So take a look at the character playbook between now and next week. Note that each playbook has, of course, its moves and things like that. You'll also choose a role that you're going to start with. And what those roles do is kind of say what position your character's in and kind of gives us a starter of what's going on with your character at that moment. So those are worth looking at. And more than one person can be the same role, or rather the same playbook. But we'll see about that. Does that sound cool with everybody? I want to say I appreciate all your patience in this. This is almost exactly the timing that I expect with this. But we've got a great map, amazing clans. I am super looking forward to this, the threats and everything that you've got out there. So I will see everybody. If anybody has questions between now and next session, or things you want to change, whatever, just shoot me an email. And I will get back to you on that. I am going to stop the recording.